everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks. Today, taking a look at All That Glitters version 2.0. Spawning here in the southern side of All That Glitters, we have our blue team today going to be led by Puddings. Pudding's going to be taking a frontline position here, right next to the mountains. This is always an interesting spot. You got to kind of guard the mountain passes here and here, make sure that nobody runs by, while also maintaining a front line up here. It's a very tricky position. It's definitely one of the more difficult ones, so I absolutely love that we're putting one of our theoretically strongest players over on this side. Where'd my numbers go? Sorry about that. Anyways, Puddings, 18 true skill. You can see that we've got a very rare lobby here, very medium rare at best. They definitely are up and coming on the learning scale with all the chevrons here, so there's definitely a lot to learn, a lot to take in here and look at, and hopefully find some interesting stuff to analyze here. But spawning in the northern half for our red team, we have BV. BV going to be a Cortex commander today, going for the bot lab. Very nice to see. Backline position, so probably tech or air or, something else interesting. We do all those cheeky strategies coming out of the backline here. So I'd absolutely love to see what's going to happen there. As far as units out on the field, getting better and better at these timings. Look at that. There's that auto feature coming in to wipe away those marks on the map. Really enjoying that one. We've got 3 rover out, but they are not moving. So we haven't quite won the Get a Unit Out and About on the Field award yet. Looking around here, Here Force is pushing forward, building a bit of a forward vehicle lab, kind of interesting. Not standard per se, but also not, game breaking. You are also up against the easier lane, so to speak, here, so I suppose I don't mind this forward lab against the mountain players up here. No Salty is going to be the backline player. We do have a res bot out. This is super important, especially on this map, but on most maps in general. There's a ton of metal just lying around the map, and if you eat it all up, you get a nice little boost, so it's definitely worth it. Can help your early game out quite a bit. Looks like the rovers did, in fact, manage to move forward here, and they are going to take down a metal extractor as well as a solar panel. It's very expensive. And that does mean that Immortal is going to win our Brightworks official Get a Unit Out and About on the Field award today. Congratulations. Oh, we do get 2 metal extractors as well as the wind turbines. That's actually very nice. Vigubic. There's probably a cheeky way to say this, but I'm going to call you Vigubic. Vigubic has been a little bit ravaged here. There's not a whole lot left for their forces. We have 40. What is that? 40 energy. Yeah, 40 energy coming in from these solar panels as well as whatever the commander can produce. Now, luckily these metal extractors did get up and running quick enough here, but yeah, definitely going to be hurting here. It's already the weak side, so that's a bad start. We're off to a very bad start here. Meanwhile, aggression has been limited for the northern side, or against the northern side, I should say. For the most part, they've held their own. Looks like the front lines are expanding slowly. We do have constructor vehicles, two working in tandem here. Going to be pushing up the front line, so that's quite nice. A little bit faster than the commander. It also means you can spare your commander in case you want to save it for degunning any T3. Still way too early to be thinking about anything like that, but wow, we've already got some blitzes out and across the field here. And this hurts a lot. Yeah, these blitzes can definitely do some real damage. Now, luckily, the commander is here to intercept. We'll be laser blasting these down instead of degunning them. Maybe we're trying to save the scrap metal. Maybe we just don't have the APM to spare, but either way, we are going to at least let one of the blitzes escape here at 10% health. If nothing else, at the very least, it was a nice scout. We did get to see a nice little scout there. Gather some information, some pawns pushing into these grunts here. Does get surrounded and blasted down, those laser flashes. 10 million amps pumped through each and every one of those photocapacitors, firing a laser blast deep into the heart of those pawns. A couple of construction vehicles caught here, and this is actually pretty expensive. These early construction vehicles are very, very valuable, and it really is quite a shame to lose them to a couple of blitzes pushing forward here. Would have loved to see these constructors pulled back, the grunts pushed forward, and just a little bit more aggro here. Here Force doing an excellent job of posturing up in just the right spot here. We want to make sure that if Daryl here wants to posture his forces, they have to do it in this choke point, right? And that means that the entire force is going to be a whole lot less effective. Oh, excellent D-gun. Wiped away 4 of those blitzes right there. Very, very nicely done. We do see early artillery out and about already. Quite powerful stuff. Can definitely tear down those T1 defenses like it's nothing, but also they can tear apart those vehicles pretty effectively as well. Artillery is sort of the king in this game. Always important to make sure that artillery is supporting your front lines, just because it's the only way that you can keep your unit or keep your enemy rebuilding at the same rate that they are surely going to be keeping you rebuilding. These blitzes showing us just how powerful they are against these grunts, getting a super effective trade here, knocking down tons and tons of grunts in this little clustered formation. Those blitzes have such a thin profile that they can actually shoot over each other really, really nicely, and so even if you clump them up, they still get an effective engagement. So that's quite nice. Loads of metal extractors here in the middle of the map, completely untouched here. And I would love to see something done about that. These are also valuable ones. We have a 3.2 here. We have a 3.2 over here. Whoops, we have a 3.2 over here. And then, of course, there's this 3.2 right here and mirrored back over to here. But those are a little more tricky to contest. Pudding's doing an excellent job of pushing up, though, and keeping this force distracted, keeping this front line engaged. Oh, Mace engaging this grunt. Oh, and he does get it. Alright, very nice. We're using maces here, and I think that's probably a good idea, especially considering how extended this front line is going to have to be here. We also don't really have a great concave. We're more of a convex here. We're bulging out instead of bulging in like this. And so typically, of course, this is the shape that you want so that, say an enemy pushes in here, you can fire at them from every single angle. Same way that solar reflectors work. Power big solar farms. I grew up in the desert, so I got a lot of experience dealing with those. We had the moisture farm back then, Tatooine, the good old days. So it's going to be Bayroth versus Puddings. Puddings is going for this forward vehicle lab that's been an up-and-coming sort of meta recently, and I think I really like it. I would like these metal extractors taken, but it looks like we have more pressing issues, at least at the moment. Currently, we have no build power supporting this lab, actually. That's kind of interesting. I would have expected quite a bit more. Yeah, Commander is going to build some forward wind turbines. That's good as well. We are going to need more power, and those wind turbines are looking pretty good right now. 16 power per turbine is definitely worth it. Of course, that wind can fluctuate, and it definitely can drop out from underneath you when you least expect it, and when you most need it. The Janus is out now. Very powerful unit. You have to jump on top of those things as soon as they fire, because if you let them fire multiple times, they get immense value from every single shot. See that one shot took down 2 of these blitzes and really ravaged a third. We're pumping out the Januses, and it's the right move, but we have to be careful. We have to make sure that we support these Januses with something else. Is that a T2 fighter already? Wow. So BV has gone straight up to T2. We're all the way teched up, and we still have our commander, surprisingly. Wonder if they were helped by another teammate or something. I'm not sure. Very interesting. What's our backline looking like here? We are up to T2 for XY Curry. Curie? Zercury? Zercury. That's what it is. Let's see. We've got T2 up as well for No Salty. And we're starting T2 for Sus Pope, although we don't have it up quite yet. We're building big row of batteries. We've already got tons of advanced solar panels, so that's very nice. At the very least, we do have plenty of power. I would love to see the commander sacrificed here in order to pay for this T2. We don't need to save the commander, not necessarily. I also like to see that we're taking these metal extractors, because if we're not going to take them in the backline here, we at the very least need to make sure that, or if your teammate rather isn't going to take them in the backline, you absolutely need to make sure that you're taking them and either giving them to them or just keeping them for yourself, because you having them might offend them a little bit, but nobody having them is going to offend me a little bit, and that's even worse. Lismo, LSMO, we'll call you Lismo. Kind of reminds me of BMO from Adventure Time. Moving forward here, going to use the commander to harass down a bunch of these artillery pieces. The commander also does not take increased fire from these, or increased damage from these laser turrets anymore, so it can actually afford to just stand right here and tank this, and it does about 1% per hit from these laser turrets. You don't want to stand under the field of fire from 1 or 2, or 2 or 3 of those laser turrets, but 1 or 2 of them is usually okay for limited exposures. Commanders can have a little bit of laser turret. These maces are pushing forward, trying to get a little bit of value, but they don't really find much here. They do find this massive turtleage over here, though. Tons of beamers, 2 beamers, heavy laser turret, light laser turret. We've got some dragon's claws, the lightning turrets, bookending this row of walls. That's quite nice, kind of blending in there. Very, very stealthy. We've got a sneaky Pete here, trying to jam as best as he can, but it cannot jam because it has no power. Daryl pushing dangerously far forward here, but he is going to be able to jump on top of these artillery pieces. Gets off the D-gun, takes down 2 of them, as well as laser blasting down another. Ooh, that one gets out with 6 health to its name. Whoa! Gets sniped out of nowhere by the gauntlet back here. Very nicely done. This gauntlet is going to be crucial holding this line here. 2 commanders will be more than enough to dissuade any units from coming through these choke points, but there's no reason why we couldn't send them around all over the place elsewhere. We're going for the forward T2. That's always a very risky gambit because one big push. Remember, when you tech up to T2, you're not producing units anymore. You can see this unit will be done in approximately 45 years. So you're not producing units anymore, so it's really easy to get overrun when you're teching up to T2, which is why generally having it in the back is better for this, in the sense that you can afford to wait longer before having to pump out units. So you can usually get a T2 constructor out, all that sort of stuff. But realistically, I think what I would have loved to see even more than any of this is if somebody had just given Puddings a T2 constructor, because we do have the T2s out now. We're starting up our T2 economies. A T2 air constructor would have been really powerful, but a T2 ground constructor as well would be just as swell. Twitchers out on the battlefield can be super powerful. They can be a early way to get those fiends out on the field, and they can definitely help forestall the oncoming push from enemy units here. One brave Centurion does fall flat on its face. Flat on his face as he tries to push in here. Mr. Zach and Here Force are trying their best to dismantle this little setup that we have by Daryl and Killamilix. Killamilix. Anyway. We've also got some units from the Salmon player here. Stroznestrot. I don't know if that's actually spoken with a Russian accent or something like that, but that's what I'm gonna go with. Pop-up flame turret is almost done here. Doesn't quite outrange the artillery though, so it's not gonna get tremendous effect unless these artillery push forward unsuspectingly. Centurion are there as well, which is quite nice to reinforce that front line, make sure that these artillery don't get absolutely devastated. A little bit of a push over here. See some T1 medium tanks trying to run through the defenses here. There's a lot of T1 medium tanks, but, well, about an equal number, actually, of T1 medium tanks from both of these teams here, the Stouts. Stouts being the tanks, not the players. Well, maybe the players are stout. I don't know. I don't know these players. Don't know them personally, anyway. Happy to get to know them here on the stream, though, or on the VOD. I've been considering streaming recently. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. I put out a poll about it, but I'm still inconclusive about whether I want to start streaming and how I want to treat that. Whether I should treat it as an event or whether it should be a regular thing. I'm still putting my thoughts together on that. So let me know down below how you feel about it, because ultimately that's the opinion that I care about the most. Immortal also going for that very forward T2 vehicle lab here. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, it definitely can allow you to pump out units a whole lot quicker. You can reinforce the front lines from the front lines. But that also can be a huge risk, right? For all the reasons that we outlined earlier. Mr. Zach doing an excellent job holding here. Just a lot of blitzes, but they're doing the job. I mean, blitzes basically beat artillery just because of how quickly you can jump on top of them. They beat Janus too. As long as you have them in enough numbers here, they are going to break into the backline, and suddenly there's no reinforcements here. This construction vehicle is in quite a lot of trouble. Medium tanks are trying to mop this up as best they can, but they just cannot keep up with those blitzes. Those are so fast, so dangerous. The blitzes have decided that their job is pushing forward here, and I would wholeheartedly agree. They break into the backlines. They do find a Sheldon, although they will largely ignore it. They're going to head over in this direction for some reason. I would have loved to see them just head straight back, but I suppose this works. They take out the energy converters. Was it the most devastating attack? Probably not. Was it effective? I would say so. I would love to see some Mauser out and about here. Mortal doing exactly the right thing. We've got the Mauser, those T2 artillery, and you can see just how much more effective they are. They can outrange these shell shockers here. Although if you're just going to keep them parked, the shell shockers are going to be more than happy to rain down hellfire from above. But yeah, there we go. And we can see the Mausers raining down their death and destruction. Absolutely devastating unit. They really can get tremendous value if left unchecked. Are they the most accurate unit? No. Are they the most, are they the longest range unit? Maybe. They're pretty, they have a pretty long range. But are they probably one of my favorites for just how satisfying those artillery balls can be? Absolutely. There's something to be said about the shell shocker and the way it arcs its plasma shots way up high in the air. But certainly I'm always going to be a fan of the Mauser. Ooh, takes down a commander with a nice little snipe there. Yeah, that commander falls. Wipes away a lot of the defenses around here, although the Mauser were basically working on that anyways. The real power of the Mauser is that it can also deal with these T1 medium tanks really effectively. Just a couple of shots to blast one of those down. Takes maybe 6 shots, if I'm looking at this correctly. And they can do some absolutely tremendous damage. And this is exactly why building that forward T2 lab is so dangerous. We see both the risk and reward of it, right? Immortal built it in the front lines and built those Mauser first, got them out, and won the first fight. And so they were rewarded for it with a hugely successful push here. Oh, Centurion come in from the side and actually managed to jump on top of the Mauser. That can be very expensive. It's a very efficient way of dealing with those Mauser, and it can definitely lead to a heartbreak and a half. But this base is under tremendous fire. All those construction turrets go up, which means this production is essentially shut down. Commander does go down over here in the bottom right hand of the screen, but it looks like we are gunning for the facility, and I don't blame them. If we could stop this tank from coming out, and it looks like we will, that is the blue player's entire production base completely lost. We are reduced here now to just a T1 bot lab, trying its very best to pump out units, but it is not working. A commander went down over here, just barely caught that at the edge of my vision. Looks like that was Daryl's commander, who was actually tapped out of the game. Interestingly enough, Kilmlix did take over there, so that's quite nice. Very good job getting a hold of that. We do see Mauser starting to push forward the front line here by Mr. Zach, and some T1 gunships trying to mop up these breakaway tanks. At this point, what is there to stop the yellow player from pushing forward? A couple of light laser turrets, sure. Couple of build construction aircraft. Not really. That's not going to do much. We were trying to build a long-range plasma cannon, but that did not finish up in time. How much do those cost, by the way? 4,500. So that's quite an expensive unit to build. Or expensive structure, I should say, to build. Definitely your late game, your late mid game to your early late game kind of unit. Here we can see Mauser versus Gauntlet. I think the Mauser technically can win this fight, but it does need vision assistance. The Mauser cannot see very far, but it can shoot very far. We're using construction aircraft to tear apart these Mauser. Rip them apart, bolt and screw. Uh-oh, Puddings is saying sus OP, or sus pop, sus pope. Ah, there it is. You don't know how to backline, do you? Sus pope. Being very forward about not knowing how to backline, which is quite nice. This energy bank is bizarre. We are up to 57,000 energy. That is incredible. A little bit of song going on here. On one hand, I can understand Puddings trying their very best, but also there is some truth to it, right? Like if you're gonna backline, make sure you have a plan. Make sure you're a man with a plan. But also, you know, you can only do so much. You can only be in so many places at once. We're definitely stalling out a whole lot of metal and energy here. We don't have nearly enough build power back here. Zercury is working on an advanced fusion reactor in the backline. Oh, what are we pulling our attention away from? We're going to finish up the lab first and then go for the advanced fusion reactor. Interesting. I think I would rather see the advanced fusion reactor come up and online, but they're both so close that it hardly matters. The Hound Army, the Hounds of Doom, the Hounds of War have brushed forward here. Going to be very, very devastating to this army. The real superpower of these Hounds is that they can basically kite infinitely, right? They can always move forward and move backwards. Looks like a couple of breakaway tanks, again, trying to get through to the back line here. But to no effect. The front lines are drawn, and I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because I don't see how we're going to break through this. We haven't postured quite properly yet. The yellow player is being sure to eat up this massive amount of metal that was tied up in the middle of the map here. Some of the Mauser are using these stealth tanks to break the front lines here, and it looks like we might be trying to open up a gap for these stealth tanks to move through. Absolutely. That is wonderful. So now we have some stealth tank moving through. Going to be very, very effective. They are also granting the vision for these Mauser to tear down this T1 defense. Just as a courtesy here, but we are going to retreat the Mauser. And I think these stealth tanks are going to be on a mission. We'll kick back into 1x speed here to check out exactly what these stealth tanks are going to be capable of. You have to be careful. You have to be careful microing these. Certainly, as soon as they're detected, they are going to be jumped on top of, and that's no fun, is it? Vision range so far, basically nothing. It would be really beneficial to have a scout right now, but I don't think we can afford that luxury, especially considering the red player has done a decent job of getting an air screen out and about here. We are sending forward a scouting plane, so the red team is going to have a nice visual confirmation of the blue team. And look at that, we get excellent scouting information about basically everything on the blue team here. Very nicely done. Now they are completely unaware of 5 stealth tanks that have made their way into the back line. Oh, this could certainly be danger. If they take out one of these plants here, they could take out either of these 2 players. Oh, what's it going to be? They're unfurling. We're going to go after the energy converters first. That wipes away all of the production here. And the tanks are recloaked. The power of the stealth tank. We try to react with the shurikens, but they're just not quick enough. BV now wondering what the hell just decimated the entire production base of his base. Well, that's a reuse of words, but you get what I'm saying here. Yeah, if we could send these tanks around and just start ravaging economies in the backline, that'll be absolutely devastating. You see BV immediately started up the Nemesis here. And we can finally see where those stealth tanks are. But it might be too late. They've already found the rear centers over here. They know they've been made. There we go, and we get the next production structures. A huge hit on Canal 06A. What a mouthful. We're just going to call you the hot pink player here. But yeah, these tanks, they keep themselves cloaked here, trying to stealth their way through this backline. This is definitely the stealth mission of their lifetime. Oh, we almost paralyzed these ones over here. But they did manage to sneak away. They unfurl and take out the very last of the energy converters back here. What an absolutely wonderful play. Sorry, I completely missed a push back here. I was too worried about those stealth tanks. Looks like a couple of bulls have actually broken through the front lines and have made their way to the back lines. Luckily, there's enough shurikens back here in order to paralyze these bulls so that the gunships can tear them down. Tremendous push came through right here from the yellow player, but it looks like it was mostly halted by the forces of the blue on the right-hand side. At this point, it looks like the stealth tanks have been mopped up. I do see one right over here. We could definitely get a little more value out of this. One more shot into these wind turbines wouldn't be too bad. Oh, it looks like lightning tank will find it at the last second. But it doesn't notice. Oh, yep, get out of there. Oh, it is noticed and it is shot down. Very unfortunate, but yeah, we've actually stalled the back line here quite a bit. Suddenly, there's no more build power left, so they can't really get any units out, and so everyone is suddenly at a loss for units. I would love to see them. I'd love to see the blue players, the friendly blue players, sending out some units to take advantage of the lack of red units currently available. Some of these T2 bombers are out now. They're just working on frontline stuff, which is quite odd. I think they could definitely get a whole lot more value in the backline. Do we have any fighters out? We do not. We're sending in the gunships. Unfortunately, gunships do not counter T2 bombers, so we're going to be in quite a predicament here, as we realize. Suddenly. But yeah, there was actually no way to deal with these bombers at the moment. Now, luckily, Red did not consolidate those bombers into a force and strike anything super strategic. Otherwise, it could have definitely been a game ender there. But certainly, we had no response from the blue team. Essentially just lucky that things didn't go much worse here. Which unit builds intrusion detection? Yeah, T2. It's this one right here. It's called the Nemesis for Cortex. I believe it's called the... actually, I don't remember what it's called. The Tracer for Armada. So you can see both of these here. Rocket spiders up on the hills, launching down their rockets to try and get some effect done. Trying to use these rocket spiders in sort of a strategic location here. I don't mind it one bit. I think it's quite nice to mix up those strategies, show us those rocket spiders are still capable. Interesting. These rockets have a little bit of like a guidance system. I think that must be a change, because they used to just collide with the mountains or whatever you were shooting at. And they would just explode. That's quite nice, actually. This is a lot of bulls on the front line, by the way. That's a tremendous amount of bulls. This is also a tremendous amount of bulls, and we also have the backup of the Starlights in order to provide that long-range fire support here. As we can see, they have laser down everything in front of them. Now we have more anti-air brought with us, so these shuriken are going to find no effect as the bulls march forward. Roll forward, I should say. The Fat Boy is getting a little bit of value out here. It's scuffing up those bulls pretty badly. Oh, missed shot though. And that is expensive. Every shot from those Fat Boys has to count here. Suddenly the pressure on the right side of the map has essentially caved the blue team. There's nothing left for the blue team to do about this right-hand side. I mean, we have a player back here, but they're completely dedicated to air. We need to see some sort of transition, otherwise these units are just going to ravage this backline. The Hounds versus the Bulls. I think I favor the Bulls. The Mauser also being sure to contribute their long-ranged aggression. But these Bulls actually get a nice little surround right now. Commander goes down, but that's hardly very valuable at this point in the game. And these the purple Bulls actually jump on top of the salmon-colored Bulls, and for devastating effect. Yeah, very nicely done here. A nuke has collided with some part of the map over here. It was probably aiming for back here, but it did hit the mountain. It still did wipe away almost all of the static defense over here, though, so that is quite nice. The blue forces are countering the yellows here. They've jumped on top of those Starlights, and without any bulls or other kind of tanks to protect them, they are going to be in a world of hurt. Flak vehicles are out, and those are going to be more than enough to shoot down those Hornets. Those Hornets are pretty tanky, but certainly 5 flak vehicles is going to be enough to take them down. Some bulls have actually broken through this line as well, and yeah, we're starting to tear it apart. Oh, looks like the pulsar was in place quick enough, though. So, at least for now, that line will stand. Lots of aggression on the right-hand side of the map, but everywhere else on this map, everyone appears to be stalling out a little bit. I'm surprised with how effective that backline push was, that we didn't see any kind of any sort of counter leverage against that. We didn't see anyone take advantage of those players being effectively wiped out of the game for a solid, I don't know, 5 minutes there? 4 minutes there? We have a Rattlesnake out, which is pretty good against these T2 units. It can outrange a lot of them, and it can contribute a lot of damage over time. Certainly not the most powerful thing in the game, but it can definitely get its value out. The Hounds are finally moving forward, and I think I would have loved to see this maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes ago. We're also just dumbfiring artillery into this gorge, which I think is probably not the best idea. The Hounds step forward here, but they get lasered down. And at this point, there's tons of fire coming out here, as well as a massive juggernaut hitting the field. Very devastating. On the right-hand side of this map, there's still a bull. This could still move back here and do a ton of damage. We're starting up dragon production. I hate the dragon, but mainly because I just suck at countering it. Whoa, huge wave of aggression coming out here. We do see the lightning tanks rushing forward. They're very, very quick. And I do love to see them marching forward, although most of them are completely devastated by these bulls. Ah, the Juggernaut is brought down, but it wipes out all of that static defense right there, letting this team push forward. Suddenly, the left-hand side of the map is completely broken. There's no units over there. Well, I guess we have some Razorbacks, actually. But aside from those 2 Razorbacks, I don't know if that's going to be enough to stand against this army. Certainly, it's going to be difficult. We also have a Thor that's broken through and taken down the T3 production facility here for the purple player. That's really expensive. It's going to be difficult to rebuild. We're going to have to see some sort of response there, but the advanced fusion reactors go up to a runaway bull, and that is the purple player almost entirely wiped out of this game. No salty. Quite salty. Complaining quite a lot. 32 minutes into this game and we only have 3 Razorbacks to show for it. 2 advanced fusion reactors. Bombers are coming in. Of course, those Razorbacks can shoot up into the air. It's not the most effective anti-air, but it is certainly an anti-air option. Shoot these Hornets down as well. Yeah, they're not terrible. Not very quick, but it's better than nothing. Certainly makes them more self-sufficient here. We have a Titan out on the field. Although it's looking pretty low. 1% health, 0% health, oh no! Titan does go down right there on the front lines. We're starting up a Calamity. Our production is at 15 metal a second and 500 energy per second. We are quite a ways away from we're quite a ways away from being able to build a Calamity of any skill, especially while we were trying to fund a Dragon, T2 airpad, all this stuff in the backline. Yeah, we're pretty far away from that. It looks like the blue team has unfortunately caved from having a tremendous lead. They got crushed in all in one fell swoop. That massive push with these lightning tanks, the Juggernaut collapsing this front line defense here, and one by one these armies have fallen. Now we are relying only on the back line. Oh, it looks like No Salty has abandoned the game, begging them to cry more. It's hilarious. The pink Juggernaut marches forward. Look at this massive wreck field right here. Definitely, aside from any of the tactics in the game, there's one thing that you can always depend on when you're looking at these lower skill lobbies, and it's a learning point that I would urge everyone to take advantage of. Reclaim, reclaim, reclaim. If we take a look at this. Ooh, it's got to think for a second. 91,000, ladies and gentlemen. 91,000 metal tied up in this reclamation field. Imagine a 91,000 metal could do for you here. I mean, that's an entire... That would, like, double this economy. If we look at this many advanced fusion reactors, we have 8 advanced fusion reactors, and that's only 77,000 metal. So, yeah, you could quite literally double the economy of the light pink player here with all of the metal that you could pull out of the battlefield here. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to get all of this, right? Like, there's still going to be some. But certainly, it was a terrible nuke. Was that from our team? Yeah, that was from our team. That was an absolutely abominable nuke. We just nuked our front line. Zercury just nuked most of the blue units here. Not that there was a ton of them, but certainly there was a few of them, and what was left, they just got nuked by a Cortex nuke, no less. This Juggernaut is hurting pretty bad, but it can definitely self-destruct. Ah, we are going to self-destruct. Very nicely done. I don't think we're going to get it because of the timing of it, but it was definitely a great effort. I do love to see that. The Calamity is spotted here. We're going to be shutting that down on the pronto. Tons and tons of Razorbacks coming out of Immortal here. And you can see with most of the experience from this match tapped out, the red team is slowly securing a growing advantage. The batteries are wiped off the face of the map. Suddenly, Suspope drops from, I don't know how much it was, 90,000 metal, however much, to virtually none. These bombers getting tremendous value in the backline here. They do take out most of the energy converters, and it's only a matter of time before all of this is brought to its knees. And just like that, the blue team does tap in. Congratulations to the red team for winning this one. I think they managed to keep their morale higher than the blue team. They managed to keep their spirits higher, didn't blame each other for mistakes. Certainly, they could have just abandoned the game when their backlines exploded, but they stuck with it, and I think there's huge commendations that are deserved for that kind of mental victory here. Thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game. Love watching these learning opportunity games, and I will see you in the next one.